MegaPodTastic.
Good morning, MegaPodlings. Krazy Joe back at the Regal Cinema. I don't come here very often, but tonight is a one-night only event, and you've heard about it on this channel before. If you've been watching this channel for a while, I recently had interviews with Nana Visitor and Jeffrey Combs from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and we talked about the documentary, What We Left Behind, and that documentary is in theaters for one night only, and tonight is that night, and this is the theater that's going to be showing it. So let's go check out Star Trek Deep Space Nine on the big screen, the best of the Star Trek TV series. Tonight's the night. I helped back this movie. I'm one of the backers. My name is supposed to be in the credits. Let's check this out. So they have the new 4DX theater. It's got rain, rainstorms, ticklers, vibration, motion, bubbles, sense, lightning, wind, air, fog, snow, water. Now they had the RDX, which basically just made the movie louder, and I hated the RDX. I thought the RDX was awful, but I haven't tried the 4DX yet. Now I see Avengers is playing in 4DX. Maybe I should give it a shot. At least give it a try before I judge it. It does sound like a gimmick though, but sometimes gimmicks can be fun. I should give this a shot, but not tonight. Not tonight. I don't care what anyone says. I am very excited about Dark Phoenix. There are more good Fox X-Men movies than bad. Remember that. They're showing trivia questions on the screen before the movie starts, and I know all the answers. So let's talk about What We Left Behind, a look back on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This is a documentary that has been in the making for several years. It was first announced at the Las Vegas Star Trek convention years ago, I want to say 2015. And it's crowdsourced, and I was a backer. I gave to the Indiegogo campaign to help make this movie happen. Now, it took a while, took longer than expected getting to us, and part of that was because, well, let's backtrack a little. Star Trek The Next Generation was, in the last several years, converted to HD for a Blu-ray release, and it was an extremely, extremely expensive project. It cost a lot of money. Part of the reason is because of how Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine were filmed. They were shot on video, or they shot on film, but then the special effects were done on video. Look, I'm not a tech guy. I can't tell you how it all went down. But basically, every special effects shot had to be redone from scratch in order to make it work for HD. It was incredibly expensive, and at the end of the day, the Blu-rays did not sell. They did not sell. So it was an expensive project for CBS, and it lost money. And that was the death knell for us ever seeing Deep Space Nine or Voyager in HD, because they wasted so much money. Well, I'm saying wasted from their perspective. They didn't get their money back. So they saw it as a waste. CBS did. It wasn't profitable. So in their mind, well, we wasted money on Next Generation and it didn't pay off. We're not going to make the same mistake for Deep Space Nine and Voyager, two shows which are not as popular as Next Generation. If Next Generation didn't sell, there's no way Deep Space Nine or Voyager will sell. That was CBS's thinking. Well, early on, Ira Steven Behr, the showrunner of Deep Space Nine, decided he wanted there to be a sequence in HD. He wanted to take a scene from Deep Space Nine and put it in HD for the movie so fans could get an idea what Deep Space Nine in HD would look like. Well, he fell so in love with this HD footage of from the episode Sacrifice of Angels that he then went back and decided every single bit of footage from Deep Space Nine needs to be HD, which was going to cost more money, which meant he had to go back to the Indiegogo backers and say, hey, this is going to take longer and I need more money. As a result, it took a long time getting this. Also, the director quit halfway through. Original director was going to be Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy. I don't know what happened, but Adam Nimoy ended up walking away, and Ira Steven Behr, the showrunner for Deep Space Nine, took over as the director. So this movie took a while to get to us, and those of us who backed it were waited quite a while to get to see that which we put money into. I'm happy to announce it was well worth it. The HD footage of Deep Space Nine looks beautiful. It looks really beautiful, and it makes you really want to see this series get a Blu-ray release. Something that's probably never going to happen, but it's unfortunate because it looks phenomenal in HD. The movie is a nice look back on the series, which was not well received when it first came out. Let me educate some of the younger Star Trek fans who weren't there in 1993 when Deep Space Nine premiered, but every Star Trek series since the original has been met with apprehension or outright rejection by the fan base at first. Started with Next Generation. When Next Generation was announced, a lot of fans were like, I'm not going to watch that. If it's not Kirk and Spock and McCoy, it's not Star Trek. There is no Next Generation. Star Trek is about these characters we've come to love, and if you're not going to put those characters in there, then this isn't Star Trek. This is Star Trek in name only. I'm not going to watch. And that was a real attitude going into Next Generation. And it wasn't until about season 3 that Next Generation finally found its footing and people started to accept it. It's hard to imagine that now, because now Star Trek The Next Generation is the most popular version of the Star Trek franchise and the most popular science fiction series in television history. So it's hard to imagine that there was a time when people rejected The Next Generation, but it's true. So Deep Space Nine comes out at the same time Next Generation's on. Next Generation has now found its audience. It's a huge hit. The I'm not going to watch Next Generation people have mostly gone away. It's accepted as a huge hit now. And now Deep Space Nine comes out and people were like, wait, it's a space station? It's not a ship, it's a space station? They don't go anywhere? I'm not going to watch. If they don't go anywhere, it's not Star Trek. Star Trek's about boldly going. You don't just sit on a space station. That's not Star Trek. Well, this went on to Voyager. Voyager, they want to get home? No, Star Trek is about exploring the universe. You don't want to go home. You want to go out there and explore. That Voyager, it's pointed in the wrong direction. They shouldn't be going home. They should be going out to explore. They're going the wrong way. It's Lost in Space. It's just a remake of Lost in Space. Then Enterprise came along. What? It's a prequel to the original series, but it looks too modern? No. That can't be a prequel. It doesn't look like it was made in the 60s. The sets don't look like they're made of cardboard. No, I can't accept that takes place before the original. I'm not going to watch it. And now we're having this with Discovery now. So this is every Star Trek series. But Deep Space Nine had it especially bad because Deep Space Nine was airing at the exact same time as the Next Generation. Next Generation and DS9 were airing concurrently. So the most popular version of Star Trek was on at the exact same time Deep Space Nine premiered. So it's like, not only do you have people saying that's not real Star Trek, but it's now being compared to a show that's airing at the exact same time. It didn't go well. A lot of people didn't like Deep Space Nine. Well, over the years, as time went on, the fan base started to realize, hey, Deep Space Nine is great. It's great. A lot of fans, myself included, a lot of fans consider it to be the single best Star Trek series there ever was. It kind of became the cult within the cult. You know, Star Trek is a cult series, then Deep Space Nine was the cult show within the cult series. But yeah, a lot of fans, myself included, believe it is far and away the best Star Trek. And to have this look back on it was really, really nice. And most of the cast, the only real cast member who didn't participate was Avery Brooks, Captain Sisko. Now, he is in the movie. Archival interview footage is used, but he did not do any new interviews. One of the most interesting things about the movie is that Ira Steven Behr got the original writers' room, the head writers of Deep Space Nine, back together to have a session to break a new episode of Deep Space Nine like they would do in the old days. They got in the writer's room and they hashed out what the next episode of Deep Space Nine would be. They imagined, 20-some years have passed, and we're doing Season 8 now. What is the first episode of Season 8, 20 years after Season 7? And the story they came up with, I want to see it. Like, I really want to see it. I don't know if you saw my interview with Nana Visitor. Check out this channel. A few weeks ago, I interviewed Nana Visitor. We talked about the documentary, and she mentions the Season 8 story that they come up with. I'd like to see CBS All Access make that happen. If CBS All Access could give us that Deep Space Nine Season 8, I'd be very happy, because that story that they pitched really has me intrigued. Well, anyway, what we left behind, a look back on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, was a one-night showing Fathom event, but the Blu-ray is coming. Now, the Blu-ray has been announced for early August, which is surprising to me, because usually when they do one of these Fathom events, it means that the project is right around the corner. That's usually the way it works. Like, a lot of times they'll do a Fathom event on a Wednesday, then repeat it on a Sunday. So it's like, come out Wednesday night or Sunday afternoon, and you'll go and you'll see the movie, and they'll have pitches for the DVD or Blu-ray, which is coming out the following Tuesday after the Sunday afternoon show. That's how these Fathom events very often go. Well, this time, no. They had the screening in May for a Blu-ray release in August, which seems kind of far apart. I'm a little surprised that they did the screening so far before the Blu-ray release, which leads me to believe Fathom events probably will repeat this screening when we get closer to the Blu-ray. I mean, that hasn't been announced. I'm just guessing, because they're going, it's all marketing. They want you to buy the Blu-ray, so they're going to want to push this Blu-ray. So I think probably in early August, late July, we will see this Fathom event get another theatrical night, one more night before the Blu-ray. That would be my prediction. Mark it down. See if I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I, as a backer on the Indiegogo campaign, am supposed to get the Blu-ray for free. Now, I did get a message from Indiegogo, from Ira Bear, saying that those of us that back the documentary are going to get the Blu-ray before it goes on sale to the public. But he did not say how far in advance. Does that mean I'm going to get it in June? Does that mean I'm going to get it in July? I don't know. No details other than I should have mine before it's on sale for everyone else. I also found out, thanks to viewer Sean Fisher, one of our Patreon patrons, that there's going to be a special edition available through Shout Factory's website that has an extra bonus disc. I'm hoping, as one of the Indiegogo backers, that's the version they're going to send me. Because, come on, I helped make the movie happen. Give me the extra bonus disc. But, I don't know. No word. In any event, what we left behind, a look back on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, is a phenomenal documentary on the best Star Trek series ever made, and, in my opinion, the greatest television series ever made. You can keep your Game of Thrones and your Sopranos and your Breaking Bad. I like a lot of those shows. They're good. But Deep Space Nine is, for me, far and away the best TV series ever. I mean that, I feel that, I believe that. Check out the documentary when you get a chance. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. I know we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.